You're listening to the morning briefing with Friedman.
Thanks, sir.
Come on, bounce it. Ah, don't hit me. Jesus Christ.
Cool. I love it.
A really fun and productive method to take yellowfin croaker in the Southern California coast is by throwing a small lure. It really works well, and it's lots of fun.
Deception jig, man, and that thing hit the bottom, twitched it once, and it was on.
This is not a translator. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you.
I'm Desiree.
Oh my God. Holy shit. Yeah, this dinner, I'm so happy. Oh my God. Phil, how the hell did you do this?
Let's go. Chop, chop.
Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California, October the 1st, 2023. What is going on with this year? It is just flying by, and I'll tell you, it's not slowing down. And either is the fishing. There was some magnificent fishing, even given some, well, for lack of a better word, crappy weather yesterday. Windy, rough, kind of choppy seas, but the yellowfin tuna, as we mentioned, are surging into Southern California, and it seems like there's more and more YFT every single day. That's not to say that the bluefin tuna are not still around. They're around. We're seeing a few more Dorado. There's been some great yellowtail catches on kelps and elsewhere. Man, I'll tell you, this fall is going to be absolutely fantastic as we keep going along. I'm telling you, great fishing ahead. And you know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. So good and so good to be with each and every one of you. We still have a little bit of a breeze here this morning, but that ocean looks much nicer than it did the other day, or yesterday, I should say. Yesterday was pretty choppy even in here. We have an air show later today in Huntington Beach, California. I know a lot of people were entertained by that yesterday. It was fantastic. And Speedway last night, a whole bunch of you folks came by to say that you watch our shows here on Friedman Adventures, and we deeply, deeply appreciate all of your support today. 11 a.m. We're going for a walk at 22nd Street Landing. It feels a little chilly out, so you might have to dress a little warm, but we'll just go for a short walk and then come back to the studio. You can see the studio, take photos if you like, and you can also have a cup of coffee with yours truly. I'll have another one with you, and we can discuss the hot bite or any number of other subjects, whatever you want to do today. 11 a.m., 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro. Hit that like button. Share these videos if you are enjoying them. Please make sure that you tick the bell. You'll be notified when there is new content. Leave a comment down below. We always deeply appreciate that. And also, you can catch us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We will see you all there. Don't forget the El Patron, 22nd Street Landing. They've got some great trips coming up for you. Love the boat, love the operation. 22nd Street Landing on board the El Patron. 310-832-8304 if you want to get on board that one. And November the 3rd, we have a day-and-a-half trip, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's on board the Horizon out of H&M Landing in San Diego. For more details, send a text to Captain Bill Wilkerson. Do it right now before it's too late. 619-985-5179. Get on board the Horizon with Friedman Adventures, our last trip of the year, a day-and-a-half trip, leaving November the 3rd, and I think fishing's only going to get better. All right, my friends, let's jump into it. Down south of the border, that choppy weather down there, also out of Ensenada, 70 miles across the border, that beautiful little port city of Ensenada that I love so much. And the fishing down there has been good for yellowfin tuna if you're able to find the right bunch of fish. Now, locating these yellowfin tuna right now has been done in a variety of different ways. There's jig strikes, that is trolling lures behind the boat, getting bit, shutting the boat down, catching yellowfin tuna. There are dolphin pods. Those fish love to mix with the dolphin, so when you see that, that is an indicator for you. There's been fish on the kelp patties. That's another way. And then, of course, birds. Man, they will rat out a school of yellowfin tuna quicker than anything else. That white tern, that little dip that it makes. It's dipping on bait. It's dipping on fish. That will show you where the fish are. So you find that, you get a good hit on the yellowfin tuna down there. There's also some bluefin tuna out of there. There's some dorado on the kelps. There's some yellowtail on the kelps. There's all of that offshore. But if you run into a day where you don't find that, you don't have the lucky kelp, or you don't find that porpoise pod that's holding, the inshore bite, especially on bonita, has been really, really good. Occasional yellowtail, some good calico bass fishing along the Punta Banda area. There's some really nice fishing for really a variety of different great operations down there in Ensenada. So keep that in mind. Let's jump across the border here. And now, when we're talking offshore and we're talking bluefin tuna, we are talking about a wide area from San Diego up to the Channel Islands. If you're on a day and a half, 2-day trip, you are in range for that fish. To perfectly illustrate that, the Endeavor just ended up a 2.5-day trip. Ventura Harbor sport fishing. Tucker McCombs, nobody does it better than Tucker, and he was all over. They limited out on the bluefin tuna with 72 BFT, and I don't know how you can get any better than that. Tucker does a great job, and this perfectly illustrates that there's bluefin tuna that you can reach. There's fish up there in the Channel Islands themselves, or as Tucker did, he ran down into this neck of the woods, around San Clemente, down by the border, all of those areas, and was able to come up with a big score. Doesn't surprise me one bit. By the way, it's hard to get on board the Endeavor, and they have a trip October the 4th that you may want to jump on. I don't think it's going to last very long. 805-676-3474. Get on board the Endeavor. Some boats, many boats, with hundreds of tuna yesterday. Thunderbird, 100 plus on the mixed tuna, mixed bluefin and yellowfin. Condor down there at a Fisherman's Landing with 100 plus on the fish. The Ocean Odyssey was having a slow morning. They just could not find the right bunch of fish. But by the afternoon, they were flying high. They ended up with 130 yellowfin tuna, 3 bluefin tuna, 5 yellowtail, and a flathead to go along with it, a dorado to go along with it. And this is the kind of variety that is evident right now, that we are catching this variety. Some days it's really good. The Aztec the other day had copious amounts of all species, dorado, yellowfin, bluefin, yellowtail. It was really great. And that is a hallmark of our fall bite here in Southern California. That's what you normally see, that variety. And the numbers have been incredible. And now the weather's going to come down a little bit more. So, man, I'll tell you, some really great fishing on the Ocean Odyssey. Polaris Supreme, 3-day trip, 179 yellowfin tuna, 72 on the bluefin tuna. I don't know how it can get much better than that. Well, maybe like this. Ari Caldavilla, pardon me, Ari and his 2 boys were out here recently on board the Freelance, Damon and Kieran. Damon 12, Kieran 10. Boys, good job out there on the Freelance with your dad. The 3 of you guys put the wood to him. And Ari said it was so special to be with his kids. He hooked a fish on a Colt Sniper and handed it to his 12-year-old Damon. And Damon put the wood to a 107-pound bluefin tuna. Pinch me. I think I'm dreaming that we can even catch fish in our local areas on a boat that leaves in the morning, comes back that same evening out of Newport Beach, California. And man, Damon, you and your brother, my hat's off to you. Great job, boys. Great job, Dad, getting your kids out there and having so much fun. And thank you so much for sending those photos. You guys grace the cover of the morning briefing this morning. And man, we couldn't be more proud of you. Great job, boys and Dad. Nice going indeed. All right, the Rooster Crow crew. You know those guys? Yeah, they started our show off today. The guys that did the Rooster Crow. Daryl Folger and a bunch of other guys, his couple of friends, were out on the Freedom. Man, they had another ripper trip on the Freedom at a 22nd Street landing in San Pedro, California. 79 mixed tuna. They said about half yellowfin, half bluefin. Tremendous trip. Thanks, boys. Still love the Rooster Crow. You guys nailed it that day. The San Diego yesterday, boat that leaves in the morning, comes back in the evening. 79 yellowfin, 13 bluefin tuna. Sea Watch with 26 guys, 52 yellowfin tuna. Yes, there were some misses. Some guys miss every single day, but the vast majority are all over the fish, and it is good right now. That yellowfin is like 12 to 20, 25 pounds with an occasional 40, 50, 60 pounder mixed in with it. Beautiful grade. The bluefin tuna, for the most part, are the smaller grade right now. I want to say 12 to 40 pounds for the most part. Great fish, wonderful eating, and a lot of fun, and the variety is definitely there right now. We are seeing that great variety. In many cases, whether you're fishing locally or you're on one of the San Diego-based boats or you're with Tucker out of Ventura, this fish is very finicky, and you're dropping down to 20, 25-pound fluorocarbon with a number 4 hook. You're choosing a really good hot bait. Sometimes you're letting that bait soak for a prolonged period of time. Sometimes you're changing it every 30 seconds. You're going to have to observe what's working on the particular boat on the particular day that you are out at sea. You've got to really pay attention. And sometimes it's a nose hook bait, so you'll get bit on the retrieve coming back, and sometimes it's a butt hook bait, so the bait hits the water and swims out and away from the boat. All working well at different times. You're going to have to gauge it. www.opsimusa.com. Don't forget to put in FA at checkout, and you'll get a free gift. Hey, lobster season is here, and it was great again last night, but it was just a little bit too breezy to be out there for many boats. But the boats that gutted it out, some guys I know were at Catalina Islanders, and they did great. Cats went great. So once again, when you have wind and you have kind of a, well, I won't call it stormy, but inclement weather like we did yesterday, that's when lobster love to crawl. So when this weather comes down, I'm thinking tonight perhaps, if it's nice, it's going to be really, really good. Don't forget, Big Fish Bait and Tackle right here in Seal Beach, California. 10% off all your lobster gear. And you can go to promarahi.com, put in Friedman10 at checkout, and you'll get 10% off there also. In addition, you definitely want to, going back to the tuna bite, bring some heavier tackle. We talked about that light stuff, but you definitely want to have 50, 60. You can throw those Daiwa Zakana 100, 150 gram jigs using that. And of course, if you're doing any nighttime fishing, you're fishing 100-pound Spectra, metered line, so it changes color every 100 feet, you know what depth you're at, and 200-pound leaders, and jigs, I will say, from 250 to 400 grams. When you get weather that's windy and you got a lot of current, that's when you're going to have to go to that heavier jig. So really great variety out of San Diego, out of Newport, out of Redondo, out of LA Orange County base landings, all the way up there to Ventura. It has been spectacular. It's not going to slow down. The weather's going to come down. It's only going to get better and better and better. Don't forget, 5-day trip on board the Independence with Friedman Adventures. That is October the 20th. More information or sign up today by going to independencesportfishing.com. All right, let's take a look at the islands. There's not much to talk about, to be perfectly candid with you. Why? Well, because most of the guys right now are offshore, and you can't blame them. I mean, you can go to the islands, pick a few yellows maybe, catch some calico bass and rockfish. When you have the opportunity to catch big bluefin and yellowfin tuna and dorado and so much more, you're going to choose that. So down there at the Coronado Islands, a few yellows, calico bass, same thing at San Clemente. Whitefish, rockfish up there at Catalina Island, Channel Island, Superior, rockfish, and finally their weather's coming down. Yesterday they got bumped around really big time up there. It was a tough day. Many boats could stay closer to home, some of the more local islands up there, and do well on the whitefish and sheepshead, but it was a tough day up there. Weather's coming down. It's going to get much nicer here in the subsequent days, so that is looking much better. We take a look at our local scene down there in San Diego, still catching calico bass. Man, it's been a great bass year this year. Catch and release, a lot of smaller fish. Not wide open, but picking at the bass. Pretty good action. And some whitefish and sheepshead, Oceanside, Dana. Same kind of a thing up here in the LA Orange County area. Really good rock fishing, man. You're fishing the deep water now. You must fish per Department of Fish and Wildlife regs right now in 300 feet or more on the rock fishing. It's been really, really good. Monte Carlo with rockfish, whitefish, sheepshead, even sand dabs. Enterprise City of Long Beach, Native Sun with similar types of scores. Picking at that bottom stuff, nothing wrong with that. Coral Sea and Stardust, Santa Barbara, really good bottom bite up there on some superior grade rockfish. You can hardly beat it, let me tell you. Really excellent stuff going on out there in that neck of the woods. In the surf, we continue to catch some corvina. I've seen the pelicans work in this zone here and hitting the water, so there's obviously some bait fish running around here, and that's always good. It's going to attract predators and get them in here. Yesterday, you saw Tino Valentine down there in Huntington Beach. While they were setting up for the air show, he was catching big barred perch, and that barred perch bite down there has been good all year long. Down around the Huntington Beach Pier, dig up some sand crabs, and it's good. 6-pound test. You are on. You can have some fun. Bring your trout gear down there and have an absolute ball. I like that 2 hour before the high tide to 2 hours after the high tide on the barred perch. Somewhere in that 4 hour window, they're going to bite and you're going to get them. I'll tell you that right now. Corvina, you can fish with the light line here in the short water. You can do that at low tide. There's still some halibut, yellowfin, croaker here yesterday on the bait. Don't forget your surf fishing headquarters right down the street here on the corner of Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. And that is Big Fish Bait and Tackle. They've got your bait, they've got your tackle. They're perfectly situated here. You drive a little bit further south to Anderson and Pacific Coast Highway, park across the street, walk in, and start fishing that zone right there. You can go left, you can go right. They're both really good zones. You fish bait, you'll catch some fish today. And you still have a little bit of time till the high tide manifests itself here on our beaches, so keep that in mind. Big Fish Bait and Tackle, 10% off on your lobster gear also right now. All right, my friends, I will see you in a couple more hours, or I don't know when you're watching this, but 11 a.m. down there at 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. It's a little bit of cooler weather here today. There goes a guy. I hope he's going to catch some fish this morning. And it looks like it could rain a little bit, but I don't think so. I think we're going to be just fine. Great variety, really good fishing going on right now. First day of October, you have got to love what we're looking down the barrel of. And normally, we don't have this wind in our fall months. Our fall months in Southern California, and I'm talking about the ocean being rough or not rough. This is when we get our calmest weather. So I suspect that later on here in October, we're going to have even better weather. And with the El Nino shoving more warm water up this way, I don't see an end to this season anytime soon. November the 3rd, don't miss it. 619-985-5179. Day and a half trip on the horizon. We had a great one last time. Limits of bluefin tuna with Ricky Perez. That was a lot of fun. October the 20th, on board the Independence. 5 days with Friedman Adventures. IndependenceSportFishing.com. El Patron, 22nd Street Landing, San Pedro, California. Get on the El Patron, 310-832-8304. And Tucker McCombs, October 4th. Great trip up there out of Ventura Sport Fishing, 805-676-3474. All right, my friends, have a wonderful Sunday. It's a beautiful day. I hope you get out with family and loved ones and friends and enjoy the great outdoors, because there's really nothing like it. Have a great one, and I hope to see you really, really soon.